Do you need a slicer? Probably not. Do you want one? Probably. Should you go get one if you really want one? Yeah, go for it. But the reality is you don't absolutely need a slicer. I've got a bunch of different size and shaped chef's knives slash gyutos, some K-tips, Kiritsuke, a little Santoku. I'm going to slice up this big, juicy deli meat turkey breast that I got at Costco that saves me a ton of money. I have a proper turkey deli meat slicing video that I did a week or so, 2 weeks ago, but I wanted to do this again because A, my wife needed some more lunch meat cut up, and B, I just want to get the point across that you don't need every style of knife, especially if you have proper technique. Okay, this is big. What knife should we start with? I think I'm gonna go with, the Meiji right here. The Meiji is roughly 8 inches, FC61 stainless steel, 101 layers of Damascus cladding, and a very aggressive D-shaped handle by Kramer. Now, you can see the grain of the turkey meat going this way, and then it kind of changes direction right there. So here's a big tip when it comes to slicing with smaller blades. Guess what? Just because the product is this big doesn't mean that you need to slice something that's big. So look. Now, we've got something much smaller to work with. Why am I doing turkey meat in addition to the fact that we need it to be cut up? Turkey meat like this, that's cold, it's dense, it's wet, it's sometimes hard to get through, especially when you have a taller blade. But there's a couple little things you can do to make the experience much better. First is coming down on an angle like this. Slicers you can generally get away with using straight like this and going in and pulling back or just pushing in. You don't necessarily have to saw as much, depends on the product and how long your slicer is. Slicers are usually 9+ inches, so you get in that 11 to 12 inch, it's generally a push or a push with a pull. With a shorter blade, what you want to do to minimize surface contact is come in down on an angle like this and use more of the tip of the blade. Go push through, use that tip and pull back. Now, if I go like this, I can do it, but I feel the need to saw when I'm doing that. Sometimes you can get a nice push, maybe a 2-motion saw, but if you just come down and pull back, come down and pull back. Kramer, Meiji, 1 down. Okay, let's go to the Zwilling Gourmet 8-inch chef's knife. This is their stamped version, full tang, with a bolsterless design. When you go from blade to blade and you're trying to get real thin slices, sometimes a little bit of a saw is necessary and some inward pressure, but also using that tip is just going to make things so much better. Tojiro DP Classic VG10 stainless steel 60 to 61 Rockwell. This is a very popular blade, has more of a traditional Gyuto style with that slight curvature and a more downward leaning tip. Come in, down. It's funny how certain blades are making a squeak noise. Well, certain, the second and third one that I used. You can see this is doing fine. When you're slicing, sawing is really, you don't want to do it. It's not ideal, but these slices are totally fine. I'm using this for sandwiches and like hot turkey sandwiches, which is also in the sandwiches category. You're good to go. You don't need a 12-inch blade. Okay, we saw it. let's go over to the Wusthof Classic Blueberry, traditional, fully forged, full bolster, full tang. Now look, we're losing space on the edge. Will it slice? Having a hard time. There we go, that muscle there. It slices. I'm having a hard time kind of finding the groove. There we go. Yep. It slices. I'm gonna have a lot of knives to clean after this. This is the Yaxell Super Go SG2 101 layers of Damascus cladding, black and gray micarta triple riveted handle, Kiritsuke, or K-tip Gyuto, whatever you like to call it. Every first slice makes a squeaky noise that I'm not quite sure if you can hear or not. So what's nice about a Kiritsuke or a K-tip Gyuto is that my blade tip is all the way down on the cutting board. So the Meiji had a good feel. I would say of the ones I just did there, the Meiji probably felt the best getting into the tip. But with this, and that as a non-Kiritsuke, once you get in and that tip hits, you're able to pull back and your wrist isn't at an elevated angle like this because your tip is so low. You can get in and pull back. That one is a little thick, so I might just have to get rid of it. I'm done buying pre-sliced deli meat. Okay, CCK 8-inch stainless steel Chinese cleaver. This feels really good. So this is a super thin blade. I think the reason I like this so much is that as I'm going down into the product, I have such a tall blade that I'm stabilizing my current slice with the meat of the next slice going down through. That felt great. Yeah, that actually felt really, really good. I'm surprised. Why am I sawing? Because I have a shorter blade. These CCKs are pretty cool, not gonna lie. Okay, let's move on to, I'm gonna go for one of the longer blades here. This is a Takayuki Aogami 2 carbon steel, 9.4 inch, so 240 millimeter Gyuto. Same thing, a very downward leaning tip and a much longer blade. This essentially could be looked at kind of as a slicer, if you ask me, because it's not an extra tall blade. Yeah. That push-pull, that extra length. Tip goes in, push, pull. This is giving slicer vibes all day. It's just a little bit of a taller blade compared to most slicers. See how I'm able to do that in 1, 2. 1, 2. Or in these shallower pieces, I can just push right on through. Beautiful. These will be my little Scooby snacks. That's my Scooby snack corner. If you have a 9+ inch chef's knife or Gyuto, The reality is that you can get away with not having a slicer, especially if you have something with a downward tip like a K-tip, or in this case, just the design of this Gyuto. Let's go to the Enso HD. This is the 9.4 or 9.5 inch Tsuchime finish, which will aid in food release. 37 layers of Damascus cladding, VG10 stainless steel. Okay, this feels fantastic. Now, granted, I'm doing shorter pieces here, so I'm going to bring this a little further. Yes. Okay. This feels better than that Takayuki, and it's likely because of the Tsuchime finish. Those little tiny air pockets are not creating drag. They're allowing less friction and just being able to move through. I'm going to save this till I get to the dead center because I want to try it out. Now, same steel, same type of finish, but this is a 6.5 inch, maybe a 7 inch. 7 inch Enso Olivewood Santoku. Immediately have to saw because of the length, which is fine. But I'm in a pretty tall part of the meat. That, I'm telling you, the hammered finish. So these two are the only ones that I used that had a hammered finish. I don't know if I've ever really felt such an impact from a Tsuchime finish or a hammered finish as I am right now with these two compared to the ones that I just used. This is the Enso hand forged Aogami Super Carbon Steel Kurochi, 240 millimeter or 9.4, 9.5 inches. I've sliced with this. I'm going to see how this feels compared to those. Okay, so it feels very similar. Has to do with the geometry, being hand forged, the length, being able to use it to its advantage. But I gotta tell you, if I were to see, that feels, let's go with the Enso, same finish. I'm just now experimenting. Where is my 8 inch Enso chefs? I mean, I have two of them. Where in the world is that knife? Oh, all the way in the back. Okay. 1.5 inches shorter than the other one I showed you. Now that I got my line straight. Okay, so the shorter edge was changing how I was able to control the blade. The longer blade was easier to just keep it straight down. A little bit of sawing needed for this real long piece, but the drag, the food release, and also my ability to get the slices a bit thinner for whatever reason, that also just could be because the wonkiness of how these things can get sometimes. Even on that short little nugget there, the Olivewood, that hammered finish significantly changes the entire experience. Very interesting. This is the Wusthof Classic Ikon Creme 6 inch chefs. This is the smallest one we're using. At the tallest, that's unfair. No, we're gonna do it. I'm gonna come in on a downward angle at the front. I mean, is it doable? Yeah. Would an 8 inch do the trick? Much better. This piece has got thick too. I was just trying to even that out a little there. I'm having a hard time getting this. There we go. Yeah, you can do it. Now we're really getting down to it here. I'm trying to box that out. Okay, there we go. Clean that up. This is the Zuma Black Forged BG42 American stainless steel. Gyuto inspired, made in China. Synthetic Kurochi finish. Feels good. I have a feeling that this textured Kurochi, same with this hand forged, because this felt really good, but it was also the length. It's hard to compare that together. Meanwhile, that mono steel, totally straight, hardly any geometry to it whatsoever, CCK Chinese Cleaver felt really good. All right, we got a few more. Yoshikane SKD Gyuto 210 millimeter. Yep. I mean, this knife could pretty much do anything. Let's be real. Yeah, I'm feeling a difference with the natural or that Kurochi feel, that textured Kurochi, even this Nasiji, this Kurochi. Let's try this Matsubara. It's a bigger blade, much taller. Yeah, that feels really good. This is also a taller blade, reminding me of that Kramer. That height seemed to have worked really well for stabilizing the slice. Same thing with the CCK. Figuring something out here. Okay, I only got a little bit left. This is the last one because I'm not going to have enough to do those three. This is the Saji STRIX 64 to 65 Rockwell stainless steel core, Tsuchime finish. It's a laser. Nice and thin, a taller this way octagonal handle. I used this to prep all of my Thanksgiving. Wow. I used this to prep all of my ingredients for Thanksgiving. And it's a cool blade. I was actually really impressed with this. I'm saving this one for this piece because it's a bit wonky and you can see it's kind of wavy here. It would be the hardest bit for me to cut right now, especially because of the height and the stability and the width this way. Exhibit A. Let's see what this can do. I really enjoyed this blade the other day. The food release on this with potatoes, sweet potatoes, and all of my mise en place was exceptional. Yeah, I'm having a hard time getting it even all the way throughout. That was a decent slice. Let's just do this. I don't feel like cutting myself today. It's like 4:30. The day is almost over. It's not a good time to cut yourself. Big fan of this blade. The only thing, and this goes for any blade, especially a higher end, more premium knife like this, is I wish the spine and the choil were a little bit more rounded. They're like, they give it a little once over, but give me a little bit more. That's the only 9 out of 10 otherwise for this knife. Okay, I don't have enough for everything else. What did we learn today? You don't need a slicer. If you have a slicer, it will make life easier. If you do a lot of slicing, or you intend to do a lot of slicing, but you want a blade to use for everyday prep, so you want a chef's knife that has the capacity of making slicing easy, yet not perfect, then what I would recommend is ensuring that you get yourself a hammered finish, so a Tsuchime finish blade, or some type of knife that has a textured karochi, nasiji, fine karochi type of finish. And then the final thing would be a K-tip. At the same time, that Meiji, the first one that I used, felt really good because the height at the heel provided stability much like that Chinese cleaver. So, can you slice with a chef's knife? Yes. Are there features that will make it slice better than others? Absolutely. Did you learn anything from this video? Maybe. I'm Chef Ryan with CutleryMore.com. Thanks so much for tuning in to one of my other nerdy geek out knife videos. I appreciate it. This is good turkey. All these knives are available at CutleryMore.com. See you later. Bye.